Thom Tillis, the Republican senator from North Carolina, has been getting a lot of positive national attention, and just plain old national attention, since he announced that he would retire from the Senate in 2026, the day after he voted against Donald Trump's one big, beautiful bill in the U.S. Senate. And, I praised Tillis' statement announcing his retirement because I liked a lot of what was in it, which was he talked about being someone who was trying to make compromises, someone who is a deals kind of guy, someone who wasn't sort of, defaulting to whatever the party line was. He said, I look forward to being able to, in the final, year and a half of my term, call balls and strikes. Okay, I mean, again, if you know me, you know that, I think that's good in general. We do need to reward politicians who, we're not really rewarding Tillis since he's leaving, but we do need more politicians who come speak out and say, hey, I think this is important that we do this. This is not really what the party is for these days, and so I'm getting out. Fine. But Tillis gave a really big interview with my friend Jake Tapper at CNN on Wednesday. And a lot of what he said kind of bothered me because it sort of made him seem like he was casting himself as this sort of hero and truth teller, but he wasn't a hero and truth teller, at least when it really, really mattered in some of these critical Senate votes. So let me just go through. Basically, I want to talk about two nomination fights. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Let's start. Well, let me first say this. Tillis voted for both of those people. Okay. In the interview with Jake, let's start on Hegseth. In the interview with Jake, Jake asked him about his vote for Hegseth. And this is what Tillis said, quote, "With the passing of time, I think it's clear he's out of his depth as a manager of a large, complex organization." With the passing of time? Again, if you read any of the coverage, literally any article about Pete Hegseth's nomination to head the massive Department of Defense with $1 trillion budget, one of the only things that was in every one of those stories was he has never done anything like this in terms of managing this size organization or anything even close to this size organization before, and that there was no evidence that he could do so. I specifically remember during the Hegseth hearings, confirmation hearings, Jack Reed, who is a Democrat, ranking member on the Armed Services Committee, but not super partisan. He served in the military. He's worked with the Republicans on the Armed Services Committee. He is not like a bomb-throwing partisan at all. He, in his statement, said to Hegseth that had you been picked to be the spokesperson for the Pentagon, I would say you might be qualified for that job, but you are in no way qualified in terms of managing a large-scale organization like the Pentagon to do the one that you've been nominated to, which is the Secretary of Defense. And that stuck with me because, again, Jack Reed's not a guy who's trying to get on cable news. Do you know what I mean? He's been in the Senate a really long time. I think he doesn't view the military through a Democratic lens or a Republican lens. He just views it as the military. And so I was struck by that. And so again, for Tillis, sorry, I'm animated. For Tillis to say with the benefit of hindsight, 5 months or whatever, now I say I wouldn't have voted for Pete Hegseth. Give me a break, man. Come on. You should have seen a month and a half ago, 5 months ago, that Pete Hegseth wasn't ready to run a giant organization like this. Okay, I want to get to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and what Tillis said about him, but before I do that, I want to tell you one very quick thing, which is become a subscriber to this channel. It's so easy. It's free. You just hit that subscribe button. I've got over 100,000 subscribers, which is awesome. Want to keep growing. My pitch to you is simple. Independent. I'm independent of the big media companies. No billionaires telling me what to do or what to say or what to write. And I'm independent of the Democratic or the Republican Party. I am literally calling balls and strikes as I see fit. I am reporting and analyzing without fear or favor. You might not agree with everything I say, but I hope you always know it's coming from an authentic and honest place. Okay, so let's go to RFK Jr. Now, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., another one like Hegseth, who eked out a Senate confirmation vote with, 50 or 51 or 52 votes. Tillis was asked, Jake asked Tillis in this interview on Wednesday about voting for RFK. And what Tillis said is this, quote, "Quite honestly, the main reason I supported Kennedy was because Bill Cassidy thought we should see how it plays out." Now, Bill Cassidy is a doctor, also a Republican senator from Louisiana, who had been very critical of Kennedy's views on vaccines, and he wound up voting for Kennedy, and Tillis just said, well, Bill Cassidy's a doctor. If he wants to see how it plays out, I guess we'll see how it plays out. But again, we knew the deal with Kennedy. We knew he was a vaccine skeptic, to put it mildly, anti-vaxxer, to put it more honestly. So it's not like there was new information that's come out. Like, oh, Kennedy is doing the things that we knew he was going to do. Oh, Hegseth isn't ready to manage a gigantic organization because he's never even come close to managing a gigantic organization before. So why did Tillis cast these votes? For the same reason that Bill Cassidy voted for RFK Jr., even though he knew he shouldn't. Politics. So Thom Tillis voted for Pete Hegseth and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. because Donald Trump had been talking about running a primary challenge against him. Tillis was set to be up in the 2026 election, and Tillis knew that if he voted against one or both of these nominees, he would almost certainly face a primary challenge. Now, he might win, he might lose, but a Trump-backed primary challenge in a Republican primary is a big problem if you're a Republican incumbent. It's the same reason that Cassidy voted for RFK Jr. Of course, Cassidy does not think RFK Jr. should be the head of HHS. Of course, he thinks he's an anti-vaxxer. But Cassidy has a primary challenge in the form of State Treasurer John Fleming. Used to be in Congress and now a state treasurer in the state. And he knew that if he had voted against Kennedy, that would have given Fleming and Trump another reason to pay attention to him and to try to beat him in a primary. So this all comes down to politics, which is, to me, this is why, it's so easy for Thom Tillis to now come out and say, like, oh, yeah, these guys aren't all that competent and they didn't do a good job. And in retrospect, I wouldn't have voted for him. You shouldn't have voted for him then, because you knew that then. Let's be honest. Well, what have you learned about Pete Hegseth, maybe other than he doesn't really know how to use Signal? What have you learned about Pete Hegseth between January 1st and July 10th? Right? We knew he wasn't ready for this job. Everybody knew that. Pete Hegseth probably knew that. Thom Tillis voted for him because of politics, okay? When it comes to Kennedy, same thing. It's sort of a cop-out when you're a U.S. senator to be like, well, this other guy told me that we should wait and see, and the other guy's a doctor. Like, do your own research. What do you think about Kennedy? And again, the reason he voted for Kennedy is simple. He voted for Kennedy because of the politics, right? And now he is freed from the politics because he's not running for re-election, so he can say what he actually believes, but he doesn't want to look like a guy who totally caved to political concerns 6 months ago. So he says, knocking the microphone. So he says, oh yeah, the things that I've seen since they've been confirmed have changed my mind. No, they have not. These are who these guys are. We knew what Pete Hegseth was. We knew what RFK Jr. was. You voted for them, Thom Tillis, because you were looking out for your political behind. That's why. Period. So let's not lionize this guy. Let's not make him a hero. It's easy to tell the truth when there are no stakes. It's harder to tell the truth, much harder, when there are potential negative consequences associated with it. And Thom Tillis didn't do it in the moment. Good on him that he's doing it now. But in the moment is when it really mattered. Okay, that's it for me today. As I said, I hope you subscribe. It's free and it helps me. You can also like and comment on this particular video. That helps grow my community. It also helps this content get out to people who aren't already subscribers who might want to be subscribers. Last thing, tell a friend. Tell 2 friends about what I'm doing here. Independent, not controlled by the big media companies, and independent, not controlled by the 2 parties. I am not predictable. I'm giving you my honest take every single day in this space. And I really thank everyone who's been on board, and let's get more people on board. Take care.